Okay, we're going to do a little video here today. My name is Matt Zimmerman, and this is my Extreme Mustang makeover horse for Reno. We're calling him Iceman. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to go through the round pen exercises. There's 6 steps to that. We're just going to step through those steps and then see how far we can get. So anyway, the first step is to get my horse moving around the pen consistently. And so to achieve that, we have to do a few things first. I'm going to give him some direction. I'm going to point, and then I'm going to cluck, and then I'm going to probably toss the rope at him or use a stick and string to encourage forward movement. So that's what we need to do first. So I'm just going to kind of walk through and go one step at a time. So point, and I want him to kind of send off and get really consistent. Generally, what happens when we do this consistency around the pen on step 1, they will go around the pen, and they'll either stop or hesitate by the gate, or they'll want to try to jump the fence. I've seen that a little bit. Or they'll kind of want to duck back into the fence where they turn into the fence, trying to find a way out, trying to find a way to get away from you. So realistically, this horse has been out on the range all his whole life, and so he's been able to run from predators and flee from them. And so anyway, we've had him for a few days here now. So I've worked with him about twice. So today he's already a lot more consistent. When I first started, he was really kind of all over the board. He'd run really fast and he'd stop by the gate. He's really trying to find that out. So realistically, he's doing really well. And when he's going around the pen, what I want to do with my body is I want to be squared up to him. What I mean by that, as a good rule of thumb, if you can make an L with your elbows, like I'm doing here, if I extend my arms out, right in front of me should be his shoulder. Point, see how he stopped right there? So I pointed first, and then so point as I'm asking, cluck as I'm telling, and throwing the rope or using the whip as I'm demanding. So realistically, this should be nothing new. Several different people use this method. Mainly, I got mine from following Quentin Anderson. So, but everybody does it different, and so then I kind of blended a little of my own stuff when I get on their back and start riding. I was raised on a cattle ranch in Nevada, so I spent a lot of time in the saddle when I was a little kid. So basically, as he's going around the pen, I'm going to use this rope to desensitize him to get used to the touch as well. So by flipping it up and around, here I can get it on him, touch it all the way down his back, and if I wanted, I could pull this up a little closer. Point, see how he stopped right there? But I want him to maintain a consistent speed all the way around. Just because something, doesn't feel right in the early stages of this, I don't want him to stop and think about trying for something else. So the first step is consistent direction going around the pen. The first 3 cues to get my horse to go forward is point, kiss is number 2, and throw the rope number 3. So as a general rule, I use this rope to test how wild or how crazy my horses really are. So I will throw it in front of their feet to see if they really rear up and strike. I will throw it at their hind feet to see if they're kickers. And so based on what I've seen here from Slider, he's not really that reactive. Sure, he's going to kind of shoot forward from just pitching the rope at him, but eventually he's going to get to the point where he's not going to be so reactive, and we're going to make a nice little saddle horse out of him. So that was step 1. Step 2 is going to be change of direction to the inside. What I want him to do it a little bit, is I'm going to have him turn and face me, and then go the other way. So here's step number 2. I'm going to turn my body, raise my hand, and then back up, step over, point. So that was step 2. Now, so what we need to do now is we are to step 3. Step 3 is consistency around the pin. So what you have to do to one side, you have to do to the other. So steps 1 and 2 are the same as steps 3 and 4. Point. See how you want to kind of hesitate and kind of have a little discussion? So what I'm doing here essentially is getting control of my horse's speed, and eventually I'll get control of his mind. Because the mind tells the feet where to go, so I can't obviously just walk up there, plug into his brain and see what he's thinking. If that was the case, I would have to go get a job in town, everybody would be able to do it. So, I know what his feet are doing, so then eventually, in turn, I know what his mind's telling him to do. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go to step 4 here in a little bit, because this side he's not very consistent. If you notice what he does is he trots a little bit and hesitates right over here, this area. What I'd like to see in here, this is the 3rd ground pin session that we worked with him, he's really slowed up his footfall. So there's several different signs of relaxation. Slowing up their gait, dropping their head down, where their muscles are a few inches off the ground, and then also they will lick and chew. They'll start blinking a lot too. In the early stages of this, some of these Mustangs have a lot of fear in them, and so they're more apt to trying to run into fences and potentially jump, bang themselves up. So realistically, we can avoid all of that. That's what we're after. Safety for the horse and safety for the rider. So essentially, that's what we're after. Back in the day, people commonly refer to it as the old cowboy way, where you just do what it takes to get on their back and ride the bronc ride out and go to work. So that's kind of becoming more and more of a thing of the past, because a lot of knowledge has been passed along in the last 100 years. Now, we still got, back in the day, they still got the job done and they had results, but for some reason, we seem to get the results a lot quicker because we get their trust. So now I'm to step 4, change of direction to the inside. I'm going to ask him to change the direction to the inside here. Oh, good. So what we did the other day is we did this, and I will let him stay squared up to me and then take a break with him sitting squared up to me. The last thing I want my horse to do is turn into the fence and get away. If I continually let my horse turn into the fence and get away, he's going to eventually jump the fence and go find a new owner. If I keep him engaged where he's always looking at me, then he's locked on and he looks at me like I have something to offer. So anyway, let me let him take a little bit of a break here for a couple of seconds, maybe a few minutes, and then we'll put him back to work. So now, this is basically the foundation to all of our training, because what happens is, if I have control of his feet, then I can start adding different obstacles, like a surcingle, a saddle, even a bridle sometimes, can rattle their cage, is something new. So sometimes a lot of these horses, when you put something new on them, they have a panic attack and think that whatever is new is going to kill them. So they will react and take off and leave town, and instead of letting them just kind of run into fences and throw caution to the wind, if I can change their thought processes back to what they know, and that's the 6 steps, then it just sets the horse and me up to succeed from the beginning. And realistically, safety is one of the #1 concerns. There's no completely error-proof way to be completely safe, because these are wild animals, and they have a mind of their own. Anyway, we're going to send him off again this way. Point. So you should get to a spot in training that whenever I point, that means go that way, please now. So what happens sometimes is the horses kind of go from one opposite end of the spectrum, from being really wild and scared, to they figure out that they can come up to the person in the middle of the ground pit, then they don't have to run, they can just get smothered on, and they get a full body massage, and so they become naturally lazy. So we need to ask them to be responsive when we ask them to move their feet, and then we also need to ask them to stand and be quiet when we ask them to stand. But they need to do what we ask of them, not what they want to do. So, point. Send up a little bit here. There we go. So steps 1 through 4 are, we'll just kind of recap. Step 1 is consistency around the pin. Step 2 is change to the inside. And steps 3 and step 4 are the same as 1 and 2, but just with the opposite side of the horse. So step 3 is consistency around the pin. And step 4 is a change to the inside. So once we get to that point, We go to step 5, which is a consistent change of direction. So one thing I haven't pointed out is when I ask them to change directions, I do about 4 things. We're going to establish a verbal low cue. We're going to get started right off the bat. So my verbal low cue, I'll say whoa, which means nothing to them at this point because they don't speak English. Number 2 is going to be I'm going to turn my body 90 degrees. And number 3, I'm going to raise my hand that is closest to the head. This hand is closest to the horse's head. This hand is closest to the horse's hindquarter. Then I'm going to step back and draw the horse to me. So, point, buck. So it's going to be whoa, turn, and up, step back. Okay, as soon as he squares up to you, let him take a little bit of break, shake his head, tell you to piss off a little bit, which is fine for right now because it's only the 3rd time we had an encounter. So, then we're going to send him off the other direction. So, I always try to recap and explain it several different times. What I have done is the 4 steps. Once I ask my horse to stop, the first one is going to say whoa, your verbal whoa. Step number 2 is going to be you're going to turn your body 90 degrees. So right now, I'm as wide as I can be. So when I turn my body 90 degrees, I should get smaller. So, not necessarily the case for everybody. Step number 3 is raise my hand. That's an imaginary cue, imaginary lead line cue. Then step 4 is draw away from it. So those are the 4 steps to get our horse to the point where they turn in and face. So step number 5 is going to be a consistent change of direction. We're going to do a lot of changes to the inside. That's the general rule. I'm just going to toy around with it and I'll just pick a number. I'm just going to pick 5 for right now for explanation's sake. So I'm going to go whoa, change direction, send him off. Let it go over here. Whoa. Change direction, send him off. Come back over here. Whoa. Send him off. Okay. Let it come around here. Whoa. There he started to whoa before I even went to number 2. Whoa. Whoa. There. So there's 5. It's not bad. So what I did the other day is I was able to come up and touch him. He's got this little head thing where he's got to kind of check me. So I want him to kind of reach out and sniff me a little bit. That's fine right there, and then walk away. The more times you kind of come up, touch your horse, and walk away, the more times that you catch your horse. And he just gets more and more comfortable with you coming up to him and touching him. Because eventually I obviously have to touch this horse if I'm going to ride this horse and compete. So walk up here, see how he's getting a little bit nervous. Let him think about it. And walk away again. And you can really see when I come up to him, there's about a 5-foot little window there where he kind of really gets nervous and his head starts shaking and twitching a little more than it is right now. And his feet start kind of moving a little bit. And he tries to bite me a little bit and walk away again. So there's no carbon copy or cookie cutter exercise to get these horses trained. Every one of them is different, just like every person on earth is different. Not every horse is going to shake their head at you like this. Some of them will come right up to you. Some of them run from you for a lot longer. So just walk up. I don't know when you get there. He feels like he's closer to me now, but enough of this. They start getting to the point where they're a little bit inquisitive on what we got going on here. So the more I can rub him and walk away, the more trust he gets. I always use the example. If you've ever had a full body massage, and you had somebody give you a full body massage the first thing every day, how would you look at that person? You would think that person was just A-okay, because it feels pretty darn good. So that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to get his trust and try to make him look at me like I'm something positive instead of some guy that just jumps on his back and works the snot out of him. So now he's getting the rest here. He's thinking, look how dumb this guy is. If I just stand here and look at him, maybe rub on him a little bit. He's thinking he's touching me. It hasn't really registered to him yet that I'm touching him too. So he's gradually kind of sneaking up a step at a time here. So this is the key to getting your hands on these horses first. And the beauty of it is, so this guy's going to be a little mouthy. He likes to kind of bite a little bit. So, perfect. So, we did steps 1 through 5. So let's just recap. Step 1 is consistency around the pin. Step 2, change to the inside. Step 3, consistency the other direction. Step 4, change to the inside. Step 5, consistent change of direction. And then step 6 is where I walk around the horse and he should disengage his hind end and stay squared up to me. It's almost like he can't keep his eyes off of me. He thinks I'm the best looking thing that he's ever seen, just like he is right there. Now obviously, if this horse decides to leave town to do a nice pretty rollback and run off, I just put him back to work. Make the right choice easy, the wrong choice difficult. You know, and then so the more I can kind of come up here and give him a little bit of a rub, and then walk away, the better. And so by all of the grand scheme of things, this is probably a great exercise for our first round pin session. You know, so probably what we'll do, we took the excess energy off of him, and instead of round pinning for tiredness, we round pin for control. I got a little bit of control of his feet, rubbed him a few times, and he's got all the steps done. I'll try it again. I'll walk around him here, stop. So the other thing that I do when I'm walking around them on stage 6, what I will do is I'll walk around and I will watch their feet. When I'm going counterclockwise, this direction that I'm going to go, I'm going to keep going until his right front disengages and he shows some forward motion toward me. So watch that seat. Watch this right. Keep going, keep going, just keep going, keep going. Now he's going to tell me to take a hike, so I step back. Okay, I didn't get what I wanted. He just kind of shifted away from me. There. So if you notice, as soon as he picks up that right front, he showed a little bit of forward motion to me. So we'll go again. Just start walking and stop. Every time that right front picks up, just let him stop, take a break. Generally, what happens in the early stages of this game, the left front will actually step back and he'll creep away from you. So we'll walk again, and there. So what happens here is the horse gradually catches you. It's a big game of cat and mouse. So anyway, that's how we just have to figure out how to win the game. There we go, that's better. And so this is one of the best rewards for me, because you get this animal that generally has and wants nothing to do with you, to accept you as part of their life. And now he's wanting to come up to me. Just keep walking until that right front disengages. If it doesn't, raise your hand, step back. So if you notice, as soon as he was kind of hesitating and not coming with me, so I raised up my hand, and that's one of the cues to change and have